Today we're going to talk about illustrating fraction multiplication. I can illustrate fraction multiplication. So go ahead and take out your binders, take out your notes, write down the I can sentence. I can illustrate fraction multiplication. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at example number 1. Example number 1, let's take the problem 1/4 times 2/3. Okay, so usually when we have multiplication, we know we're making more of something. For instance, if I have 3 times 5, I'm getting 15. And 15 is bigger than 3 and 5. So we're making 3 rows of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's getting bigger. If we think about this word we learned, of, that multiply can mean of, 3 of 5. Well, that makes sense because we have 3 rows of 5. Okay? With fractions, though, it gets a little weird because with fractions, when we're multiplying something, it's getting smaller, and we're not used to that. So let's just multiply this straight across. Like normal, 1 times 2 is 2, and 4 times 3 is 12. And if you simplify that, we can divide them both by 2, and we get a final answer of 1/6, which is actually smaller than both of these things. 1/4, let's take a circle and cut it into fours. And 2/3, take a circle and cut it into thirds. And 1/6, take a circle and cut it into 6. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops, that's not really. There's 1/6. Check it out. This is actually, the answer is actually smaller than either one of the numbers we began with. That's because of that word of. And let me show you. When we say multiplying could be the word of, we're talking about 1/4 of 2/3. So essentially what we were doing is taking this 2/3, splitting that into fourths, and only taking one of those. 1/4 of 2/3. So take your 2/3, split them into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and only take one of those 4 pieces. And that's how we have 1/6 as our answer. So when we're multiplying with fractions, we're actually going smaller because that word of with multiplying. So how can you easily show fraction multiplication in a picture, in a diagram, if you're ever asked to? Well, here's what you would do. We're going to go back with our original problem here, 1/4 times 2/3. Draw a box. It doesn't have to be perfect. Put the first fraction on this side of the box, put the second fraction on the bottom of the box. Now, let's go over to 1/4. These are going to be our rows. And the bottom number is going to tell us how many rows to make. So we're going to make 4 rows. And try to make them as equal size as possible. And we're going to, the top number is going to tell us how many to fill in. So we're going to fill in one of these rows. Okay, go to the bottom. 2/3. These are going to be our columns. The bottom number is going to tell us how many columns to make, 3. So ignore your rows and just do 3 columns. And try to make them pretty equal. And the top number tells you how many to fill in. Fill in 2 of those. Okay, fill in 2 of these columns. All right, there we go. Now, we can look at this picture and tell what the answer is to 1/4 times 2/3. Make your fraction. The bottom number is the total number of boxes. The total number of boxes in the picture. So in the grid we just created, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 boxes. And the top number of your answer is how many of the double boxes. 1, 2 of the boxes are doubly filled in. And that's your answer. And you can see it's right there, proved in our work. And you could simplify it, same way you would any other answer, and you would get 1/6. All right, let's do another one. Here we have example number 2. And we are being told to illustrate the product of 2/5 times 1/4. Okay, 2/5 times 1/4. Illustrate that. So I'm going to make my box. Doesn't have to be perfect, just try to make it pretty accurate. Put your first fraction on the side and put your second fraction on the bottom. Remember, our first fraction over here are going to be our rows. And 5 is going to tell us how many. Okay, how many? So I'm going to make 5 rows and try to make them pretty equal. 2, 3, 4, 5. And the top number tells us how many to fill in. So I'm going to fill in 2. I'm going to go down here. And I'm not wasting time coloring them in all the way. I'm just shading them in enough so you can see. All right, the bottom number is going to tell us about our columns. All right, down here is our columns. So the bottom number, 4, says how many columns to make. And there's 4. We've got to make 4. All right, so make 4 up and downs, 4 columns. Here they are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the top number is going to tell us how many to fill in, and it just says 1. So I'm going to fill in 1. So I'm going to fill these in right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our answer. The bottom number is the total amount of boxes. So if I'm going to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And the top number is going to be the double shaded. So I only have 2 double shaded. All right, so that's my answer. All you have to do now is check to see if it can be simplified. And it can. Both of these can be divided by 2 to get a final answer of 1/10. That's our final answer. Okay? All right, you try. Example number 3. I want you to illustrate this problem. Illustrate 2/3 times 4/5. So go ahead and pause the video and do it on your own paper. Use your colored pencils, use your markers, whatever. And when you're done, hit play and see if you got it right. Okay, so here we go. You should have started by drawing your box. And on the side, put the first fraction, and on the bottom, put the second fraction. Now, the side tells us our rows, and it says we have to have 3 rows. And of those 3 rows, it wants us to fill in 2. I'm going to fill in 2 of these rows. Okay, and the bottom tells us our columns, and it says 5 columns. This might be a little bit more challenging. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it says the top is a 4, so fill in 4 of those. I'm going to fill in 4 of these columns. See, I'm not wasting my time doing a whole bunch of shading, just enough so I can see. All right, time for our answer. Here we go. The bottom number is the total boxes you created in your picture. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And the top number is all the double shaded ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 double shaded. Check to see if you can simplify your answer. And we can't. So this is our final answer, 8/15. All right. So you should be ready for your quick check quiz. So go ahead and get into that, get started. And when you're done with your quick check quiz, close your iPad so I know you're ready to move on.